Alright, welcome back. Another phenomenal intro. So, today we're going to do some factoring trinomials. I want a quick review. Right here, we're multiplying two binomials. So how do I do that? Well, I take each term in the first binomial and multiply by each term in the second binomial. So I'll do 2x times 3x. That'll be 6x squared. 2x times 2 is 4x. 3 times 3x is 9x. And then 3 times 2 is 6. And then I want to combine the like terms. So I have 6x squared. I add these two together. That will be 13x plus 6. So starting with two binomials and multiplying them, well, that's multiplying. And the opposite of that is factoring. That's going the other way. Alright, so let's get to some factoring. What we're going to do now is called the Australian method. Before we do, I just want to go over a few things. When you have a trinomial, is written like this. This is standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. A is the number in front of the x squared, or the coefficient, and b is the number or coefficient in front of the x, and c is just the number, there's no x to it. So these key numbers, this is what we need to write down. X to a times c. Alright, so a times c. So the number for a and the number for c. In this example, it is 6 and 6. So 6 times 6, 6 times 6, that equals 36. Alright. Now we need to do b. Okay. B is 13, so I just write 13. So our two key numbers are 36 and 13. Now, what do we have to do next? We need to think of numbers that multiply that equal 36, and when we add equal 13. So you see this multiply should equal that. When you add equals that. There's different ways to do it, and you get better over time, but one way is just writing down all the factors. So what numbers multiply that equal 36? Well, I can do 1 times 36. I can do 2 times 18. I can do 3 times 12. I can do 4 times 9. 5 doesn't go in there. And I can do 6 times 6. So these all equal 36 when I multiply. I want to add them together, see what they equal. 1 and 36, if I add it together, that's 37. 2 plus 18, that's going to be 20. 3 plus 12 is 15. 4 plus 9 is 13. And 6 plus 6 is 12. So the numbers I want to select are 4 and 9 because they equal 13. So 4 times 9 is 36. 4 plus 9 is 13. So 4 and 9, these are my special numbers. So when I write these down, we're going to factor into two binomials. So they're going into parentheses like this. The first number I'm actually going to write is 6x. 6x in front of both of them. I'm doing that because this first number right here is 6x squared. So that's what I do first. After that, I write down the 4 and the 9. I'll put the 4 right there and the 4 right there. Oh, not 4 and 4. 4 and 9. And I'll put the plus signs there. All right. Now, I do a little check. All right. If I do 6x times 6x, that's going to be 36x squared. So I know that's not right. So what I'm going to do is divide this thing by 6. Alright, so just remember the first number in front of the x, you start with that and then you divide by that number as well. So now I look at this. Okay, can I factor anything out of this binomial right here? Well, 2 goes into 6x and 4. So this can be rewritten as 2 times 3x plus 2. Can I factor anything out of this? Yes, that's 3. This can be written as Now if I simplify this, I can do this 2 times that 3, and that's going to be 6, and then I just write these other ones. 3x plus 2 times 2x plus 3, and that's divided by 6. All right, now that 6 and that 6 cancels. That's why I wrote at the beginning. And this is going to be your answer. So our answer is 3x plus 2 times 2x plus 3. Boom. That is a factored trinomial. I always do a quick check, right, to make sure my answer is right. So if I multiply these together, it should equal this trinomial up here. So I always do the first one, 3x times 2x. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, x times x is x squared, so that's good. I always do the last one, 2 times 3, well, that's 6. Boom, done. And I always do that quick one, but you should always do the inner and the outer ones, just to make sure they add up to the bx part, the second term. 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 plus 4, 13. All right, so that is how you quick check it after you factor the trinomial. Round 2, here we go. So, Australian method, I've got some Australian animals over here, platypus, koala. All right, back to math. So, key numbers, A and C. So what number is in front of this V is really a 1. So 1 times 45, that is 45. And then B, that's minus 14. Okay, so what numbers multiply that equal 45, and when I add them equal negative 14? So what numbers equal 45 when I multiply them? Well, I can do 45 times 1, I think 15 times 3, maybe 9 times 5. So these are all some good options. If I add them together, well, that's going to be 46. This will be 18. This will be 14. All right, so I'm looking at this one, and this says 14, but I want it to be negative 14. So is there something I can do? Well, what if I do negative 9 times negative 5? When I multiply, that still equals 45. And if I add them together, negative 9 plus negative 5, well, that also equals, that equals negative 14. All right, so negative 9 plus negative 5 equals negative 14. So those are my two numbers, negative 9, negative 5. So I write it out. Remember, if there's a number in front of the first variable, you put that there. So it's 1v, 1v, and we put the same number on the bottom, just like that. Then I insert it, negative 9, negative 5, negative 9, negative 5. So is there something I can factor out of these top ones? Well, I could do a 1, but that doesn't really change anything. Those cancel. So this is really the answer. I'd write it as v minus 9 times v minus 5. And then you do a quick check. V times v, that's v squared. Negative 9 times negative 5, that's 45, right? And you can check the insides if you want, but I like the quick check. So that one is good. One more example. So, and apparently Australians, they invented Wi-Fi. So, shout out to all the Australians watching this video. Good looking out. So these key numbers again, we do A times the C. So 3 times negative 5, that's negative 15. And then the B is negative 2. So before I even choose those numbers, I have a 3 in front of the h squared. So I'm going to write out is 3h times 3h, and that will be divided by 3. That's how the Australian method is set up. Now I just need to find the numbers to insert there and there. So the factors of negative 15, well, there's negative 1 times 15, 1 times negative 15. 3 times negative 5, negative 3 times 5. All right. Any of these add up to negative 2? That's 14, negative 14, right here. And that's going to equal negative 2. So I put that in. We have a plus 3 and a minus 5. Can I factor anything out of these? Well, this one I can. I can take out a 3. That's 3h and 3. So that's going to be 3 times h plus 1, because 3 times h is 3h. 3 times 1 is 3. Times 3h minus 5 divided by 3. Boop, boop. And those cancel. So I'm left with h plus 1 times 3h minus 5. All right, that's it. Quick check. H times 3h, that's 3h squared. 1 times negative 5, that's negative 5. And then you could do the inside ones. 1 times 3h is 3. H times negative 5 is negative 5. Negative 5 plus 3, negative 2. Oh, we're good. Example 4. And we're looking at the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. What a beauty. So, factoring. Key numbers, A times C. Well, that's 1 times negative 12. So that's negative 12. And then B, that is 1, right? 1. Okay, so when I write this, I'll do this first. Is 1 in front of the Y. So that's really just Y. So you could write it like this. And then we know we divide by this first number, right, after we write it in there. You should know, and you might get better at this over time. When you divide by 1, this whole thing doesn't really change. It stays the same thing. So you don't even need to divide by 1 if the first number here, the first coefficient, is 1. You don't have to. It will make it easier like this. But if it's a different number like 5 or 7, then you definitely have to divide by that number. So, back to this. What are the factors of negative 12? Well, negative 12 times 1, 12 times negative 1, 2 times negative 6, negative 6 times 2, 3 times negative 4, negative 4 times 3. Any of these equal 1 when I add them together? Well, I'm looking at, oh, I made a mistake, right? 3 times negative 4, that's the same as 4 times negative 3. I meant to say negative 3 times 4. And this should have been 6 times negative 2. My bad. So now this one, if I add these together, it equals 1, right? Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So my answer will be negative 3 plus 4. You can do a quick check. Y times y, that's y squared. Negative 3 times positive 4, that is negative 12. And then negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. 4 times 1 is 4. Negative 3 plus 1, plus 4 is 1. Good. So now it's your turn. Pause this video, give these a try, and then we'll come back and do them. So here we go. This one, the number in front of the d squared, that's a 5. So I'm going to write it out like this. 5d, 5d, and I'm going to factor out this extra 5, so I put the divided by 5 on the bottom. So now, what numbers? Well, 5 times 9, that's when you do A times C. That is 45. And then we need numbers that multiply that and equal B, right? That is negative 18. So what numbers multiply that equal 45, and when you add them equal negative 18? Well, that would be negative 15 and negative 3. Negative 15 times negative 3 is 45. When you add them together, it's negative 18. Now, can I factor out a 5 from here? I can. So this becomes 5 times d minus 3, because 5 times 3 is 15. And then I can't factor anything out over here, so it's 5d minus 3. And that's divided by 5. Boop, boop. And those cancel. So I'm left with d minus 3 times 5d minus 3. So that's the answer. You could do a quick check. D times 5d, 5d squared. Negative 3 times negative 3, that is positive 9. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. D times negative 3 is negative 3d. Negative 15, negative 3, negative 18. We're good. This one over here, there's a 1 in front of the p, so that means if it's a 1, we can just leave it like this, with only the p right there. We don't have to divide it by 1 because it's just dividing by 1 is the same thing. So what numbers multiply that equal 36? We do 1 times 36, and when we add them equal this 12. Well, 36, well, it could be 6 times 6, right? So 6 times 6 equals 36. 6 plus 6 equals 12. So this will be plus 6 plus 6. And if you want to get fancy, right, if these are the same binomials, you don't have to write it like this, but you can. It becomes p plus 6 squared. Quick check. P times p, p squared. 6 times 6, 36. And then 6p and 6p, if you add them together, is 12p. So that one is good. So that's it. This one can be a little challenging, so if it's a little confusing, you can watch the video again. Try some of the Khan Academy or IXL to practice. But yeah, good luck on the mastery check. Good luck on the quiz. You got this. And I'm going to end with a little Family Feud video. It's not from Australia. It's from England. But it's a good one. You'll like it. Dirkus out.
Name something people take with them to the beach. Turkey. The first thing you buy in a supermarket. Turkey. A food often stuffed. Turkey. I said to you, name something people take with them to the beach. You said. The answer was the first thing you buy in a supermarket. The answer was. And the survey gave you a food often stuffed. You said.